Bible teachers. I think I realized that the next time I was letting guys in together, so I'm like, I tell you, but how was your group?
Now we're living in the area. And your person is what it is.
Closer. Say it again. Yes.
Well, daughter.
How have you been? Good?
Yeah.
All right. It's been busy this time of year. Yeah, well, in the year, and everything, everybody scrambles to get the information. And it was,
Yeah. I'd like to welcome everybody to the December 9th edition of Rotary. Here to do our prayer pledge and four-way test, Mr. Metro.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let us pray. Dear Lord, our God, we're thankful to gather together as the Rotary Club, and whose membership we try to work and help serve others in our community. Please be with each and every member of our club and each of the members of clubs all throughout the country and the world, and guide them and direct them and support them as we work to serve you and serve others. We also ask you to please grant us grace and forgiveness each and every day as we are sinners, Lord, and we ask you to please guide us and protect us and let us help lead others to you as well. And we ask for especially your grace and forgiveness coming up in this Christmas season as we celebrate the coming of Christ. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test. Is it the truth?
Is it fair dog? Let's go.
Is it fair dog?
Just count.
Just count. Just count. Just say one.
I'm one.
Is it the truth? There you go. It's a fair to all concerned.
Number three.
Will it be good? Better friendships.
Number four.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? There we go.
All right. Play ball. Play ball. You guy.
Team 6, any updates?
Julia.
No, I don't think
Oh,
so.
I'm sorry. All right, you team six.
Moving along. All right, dues are due. So this is important because the dues that you're paying right now are for January through June of next year. We will get an invoice from both Rotary International and the Rotary District as of our roster on December 31st. So we need to get payments made either today or sometime before next Monday. Payments not received then we'll have to unfortunately terminate folks. We can reinstate you once payment is made, but if not, it'll cause a break in your dues or your continued service with the Rotary. So if you see that, that's probably what happened. Tom,
Hey,
no.
no Bengals report. Hey. Yeah. There'll be Homer Simpson will be in charge of the Bengals game season. It's a wonderful thing. Thank God my Kentucky Wildcats are back to playing.
Absolutely.
For those of us that might be aged in this building and fell asleep after halftime, thankfully I woke up 6 minutes to go and saw the overtime win. So
game.
it was good to see people share the ball, share the credit, and be responsible for their actions. So it was kind of very, very nice to see the Wildcats. That beautiful weather this weekend. If you were able to get out in your yard and finish putting away all your pots that you were supposed to put away a month ago. So we're glad that all that's done. And this week we're looking forward. We're gonna have a Christmas thing next week, or just get in here and say nice things about each other.
So we'll have a little bit of that. We're going to go through
I give you a year-end report on medical conditions of many of the members. Who met their deductible on what month? Somebody gave me this nice vest. I thought I was very appreciative, and I look at it, it says the Scarsdale Country Club. Isn't that where the fat guy got killed? Might be for me.
Hey,
Thank
Chuck,
y'all. All right.
the Kentucky volleyball team is in Sweet 16.
Kentucky volleyball in the Sweet 16. I was listening to soccer. They didn't make the Final Four. Hats off to Rylan Cooper. They got to the finals. And, I mean, Trinity just wins all the time. I really felt good about Cooper and Ryle's chances this year. So I don't know. We got to be better recruiters.
Pat Turner's now in charge of NIL money for high school.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
All right, it's time for toy drive is underway, and I'm Gary, you're collecting this week?
Yes, this week, and it looks like the place I put them, I mean, they're full being filled up with toys, so.
Awesome.
Yeah, great job.
Any idea when you might be out?
Maybe this afternoon and tomorrow.
Okay. Because Steinford was saying like Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay,
But no, you're welcome anytime.
okay, well, it'll be this week, I mean, Tuesday, probably Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay, great.
All right, Dwayne, you've got something you want to talk about?
No, I was, forgot to bring in my toys, so I'm like, oh, just drop them off at Heritage Bank.
Yep.
So as I'm putting them in the box, I'm noticing these handmade wood toys here. And the craftsmanship on these things are absolutely phenomenal. They're all handmade, and you look at the details on these things. The guy's a master craftsman. That's all there is to it.
A bank customer, it takes up their home health to make it.
Well, and there's just not 3, there was 8 of them in there. So if you were to sell these at a craft show, I bet you he could get a couple $100 for these. But this is, I mean, it made me feel great to be part of Rotary. And that's a legacy toy there. If that's something you can pass down to your kids, you know, once if they hold on to it and take care of it, but just made me great to feel to be a Rotarian.
All right.
Yeah.
This guy does this every year, and it might be even more. He might do a dozen or more of these.
Really?
And I can tell you, a small fire truck costs $125.
I
Wow.
believe that. I mean,
Edgewood has done a lot of nice things for New Perceptions, and I bought them a fire truck made by this guy. And yeah, that stuff ain't cheap, but it's really nice. And to donate all of that, it's even nice.
oh, the detail work on it's phenomenal.
Yeah, crazy. The skills of an elf right there.
That's exactly.
All right, so next week, part of our program, we're going to sign some birthday cards for seniors.
Yeah, for the program.
So if you happen to have a box of extra birthday cards lying around, please bring them in. As many as we can get, we'll take, and that'll be part of our program. So. All right, we're still looking for 3 directors for the board. And then we also need a president-elect designee for after Mark's presidency. So you will not serve.
So it's the 16th, our last meeting for the year, and then we'll begin when?
Six.
The 6th.
January 6th.
Yep. All right, Paul Fuse, happy birthday to Paul Fuse if you happen to watch this. Marcus, if anybody comes to you for deputy help.
I feel like the Maytag person, no one shows up.
Doing a good job.
Ways to support the club with your Kroger rewards. I think we actually just handed a check to Leroy today for.
Yeah, we just got another one.
All right.
Nice.
So much.
All right, happy dollars. Anybody got any happy dollars? Peter.
So I'm on the email list for New Perceptions. And last week when I got my newsletter, I burst out laughing because there was not 1, not 2, but 3 pictures of Sean Carroll getting a pie in the face.
We had a contest among the participants, and we raised over 1,000 pounds of food for St. Vincent de Paul. So
Oh, wonderful.
and there was some real sandbagging going on. Things really came in. Thanks a lot, Peter.
Yeah, sure.
That's it. Anybody else? Gary.
Went to the University of Kentucky every year, has a Christmas collage, they call it, the Department of Music and Theater Department. And if you've never been, it's worth going to. It's always, I think, the second weekend in December, but I mean, like 300 people participated in this, I think, so. Just throw that out there. A nice Christmas, nice way to celebrate Christmas.
Very good.
All right.
And
I got one.
Go ahead.
So I have one. And Marcus saw and said it. I actually have my shopping done, everything wrapped, Christmas card set. So I can enjoy the holidays and go do some.
All right.
That's okay.
All right. Last call, $100. All right, Joel, you want to introduce our speaker?
I will.
I was out on back.
Oh.
The other day. Okay.
Hey.
Oh, my gosh. That thing was like Stone Age before. Now it's barely.
We got another guest too, Ally Slime. Can you stand up and tell us what you do?
As soon as she takes a bite.
Take your time.
You're a really good brownie.
Fortunately, it's a little dry too.
I'm Ally Klein. I work here at the ad. I'm the youth navigator. So it's a new program that we just got funding for. The program is called Youth First. I work with 16 to 24-year-olds in all 8 Northern Kentucky counties to find employment or training opportunities, short-term training opportunities. So helping them find employment, the skills needed to do that, and then also maintain their employment. That's all.
Very good.
So I'm gonna. Chris's bio was in the newsletter and in the email. So I'm gonna tell you how I learned about Chris. So, so as many of you know, I'm on the State Board of Education. And the Secretary of Education and Workforce, Secretary Link, is an advisory ad hoc member of the State Board of Education. And he kept talking about this program, Everybody Counts. And I'm like, what is this program? And so I reached out to Secretary Link and I said, hey, can I talk to Chris and find out about it? Maybe have him come up and talk to Rotary. And he's like, sure, because they're trying to get the word out about the program. So that's how I learned about Everybody Counts. And so I'm going to turn it over to Chris.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm probably going to move around a little bit. I hope that's okay. I know we got a little on the video, but good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I am always excited to talk about this initiative. And that is something that I do want to make sure I emphasize right away. This is Governor Beshear's initiative. We try to stay away from program because I'm not out here to add another program to what is already a myriad of a menu of programs that I think the state sometimes launches out. And I like the word initiative because it elicits movement. It elicits action. To take initiative means that you do something, right? You're not sitting still, you are moving. And that is something that I'm very much about, is building momentum. And so if there's anything that you're going to learn about me today, I want you to take away a very simple acronym. And I'm a military brat. I grew up as a career military kid, 22 years, living underneath Sergeant E7 Sanders, his house and his rule. And we lived overseas in Germany for half of my life before I graduated high school.
Oh,
I had a very unique upbringing. I spent the first 3 years of my life in Germany. I spent 3 years of the middle part of my life in Germany. I spent the first 3 years of my high school career in Germany. I went to 3 high schools in 4 years. 2 of which were at a base in Fulda, Germany that was closed in the early 90s. Went to Vilseck, Germany for a year, was a 3-sport athlete at a little school, and then came back to North Hardin, Kentucky in Hardin County and graduated my final year here in Kentucky, and then earned a soccer scholarship because I was playing soccer in Germany while I was doing that, and played at Campbellsville University for my undergrad and went back into my graduate studies at Campbellsville. So worked for Campbellsville for a number of years and ran their international office. So my job at the university was to bring international students from their home country to the United States on what's called the F1 visa, or family members on the F2 visa. Oftentimes faculty members were coming on the J1 visa. with their family members. And so that was my job, to promote international travel away, American students going abroad, bringing international students to the United States. And so my life has been invested in individuals. It's been invested in developing people and helping them meet their aim. And that's my acronym, AIM. I amplify aptitudes, I ignite people's interests, and I motivate their movement to whatever it is they're trying to achieve in their life. And that doesn't matter if I meet you as a young person in high school or someone in this room. Wherever you are, you have goals, you have aspirations of what you want to achieve, and that is the purpose of Everybody Counts. Everybody Counts is a future that's way beyond basic. Our career coaches are full-time individuals that we invest time into training, and then we deploy them into our supported school districts to work specifically, directly with students in high school, specifically seniors, so that they are planning their pathway beyond graduation. And that is meeting that individual where they are. They might have a 36 ACT and a 4.0 GPA. They might have a 1.5 GPA and no ACT yet. They may have no career or college aspirations. We will meet them where they are and we will build them a plan for their future. We do believe that with Everybody Counts, everybody wins. This is an initiative from our governor. He is very specific about this particular time in Kentucky, here in the Commonwealth. There are more jobs than there are people to fill them. 2 for every 1 person is the last time I've heard Governor Beshear speak. 2 jobs for every 1 person in this state. There has never been a more opportune time for young people, specifically our target audience at Everybody Counts, to learn and develop and cultivate the skills to be successful in their next phase of life. And that may mean college, that may mean an apprenticeship, that may mean getting some on-the-job training right out of high school for a future state of education. But we want to make sure we build that plan based on that individual's needs. So what does our model look like? What is a career coach? Let me just ask this question. How many people in this room have ever had a coach? What was the coach that you used? Swimming coach. Okay. Another coach, just anyone that raised their hand. Swimming coach, baseball coach. Why did you go to that coach? What was so important that that coach taught you?
He would teach us dry coach outside the pool. Then he'd have us in the pool. Then he'd have somebody mimic it that's good at it, and then have us stand back and watch it until we got it.
Okay. So it sounds like that coach addressed different learning styles. Showed you it, maybe told you it so you could hear it, and then you actually got to do it as a kinesthetic learning, right? I would imagine that if you're hiring or going to a coach, it's because they probably know what they're talking about and they're an expert in what they're doing, right?
You'd hope so.
You'd hope so. We're not going to comment on any college sports teams coaches, right? And why they're there or not there anymore. But we go to a coach because they are an expert at what they are coaching, right? They have been there before and they know a few tricks, right? This is a basketball state. Yeah. You don't go up to the free throw line and just start draining free throws. You've got to learn the skills, right? You have to learn how to stand. You have to learn how to place your hands on that ball and how to position up all that to get that ball to do what you need it to do. And that takes practice and repetition. And that is exactly what our coaches do. I can't make it any more simple than that. You have to practice and continue to have repetition in the things that we want students to do. So we want them to understand themselves and take a self-assessment, right? What are you good at? What are the things that you are already naturally good at? Are you good at something with your hands? Are you really good at math? What is it that makes you unique? And that is something that our coaches focus on the very first meeting with an individual. What is it that makes you unique? How can we help you identify those unique, right? And then we want to help set goals. And I often think about a ladder in this sense, right? We always talk about going somewhere, right? What is the path that you want to go on? Oftentimes, I think our coaches talk to students and we want to paint that futuristic picture. But the majority of the time, we want the coaches focused on the first rung on the ladder. It's great that you know the destination on the GPS, but you got to know the turn left first, right? Otherwise, you turn right and you got to recalculate that whole path. right? So it's great that we focus on, okay, where are you going, right? We're going to set goals for where you're going. We want to help you understand why you're going there. But the action, the initiative is the first rung. It's just the next step. And I will promise you, in our high schools, that next step is not that simple. And I'm sure as you interact with people who might work with you or for you, or individuals that are in your influence network, that first step sometimes is different based on what you are faced with personally and what you're carrying. We work with young people who have special needs and disabilities. Their first step looks a lot different than if you're talking to a high achieving student. We have students who don't live at home and do not have moms and dads at home to support them. Their first step looks a lot different towards fulfilling their path. And so that is why it's so important that we focus on the individual. The self-advocacy element, I cannot overemphasize. We have to be able to ask for help. I think everyone in this room, if I was to say, I need help with fill in the blank, there's probably 3 or 4 of you that would raise your hand and say, I can help you. And there might be 2 others that say, I know I can't help you, but I know someone who can. And that in of itself is the beauty of our coaches, because they're working with those young people to understand how to build the social capital, as we call it, to be successful as they navigate their life. And so we work very hard to help them explore careers, specifically careers in Kentucky and education opportunities in Kentucky. We start there. And then we look beyond those borders if they're not finding those careers or those industries to support their future. Work-based learning is a critical component of that. And I think we would all agree that you don't gain experience by sitting and listening and watching someone do something. You experience by doing the thing. And we want those individuals to have opportunities, to have work-based learning, to go out into the workplace and build those skills and have that ready for them when they leave high school. One of the biggest pieces of feedback I hear from employers now is that our young people are not ready for the workplace. Not surprising, a national statistic says less than 20% of our high school graduates have had a work experience before they graduate. Yes, sir. I said the same thing. Many of you, I think my father's generation graduated in the 60s, 60% plus had a work-based work opportunity or working experience before they graduated. My generation, it was 30%. It's below 20% now for national statistic. How can they be work ready if they're not having work experiences before they graduate? There are 4 pillars that we focus on, and I want to make sure that I emphasize these because these pillars follow us whatever environment we go into. I call it the 3 C's environment. 2 of them we want students to focus. We want to focus on a college or a career, whatever order. We want you to stay off the couch. The couch is often where we find a lot of our students after they graduate. Playing video games, kind of, doing the thing. But we want them to be moving along, and we want them to focus on these 4 pillars: financial literacy, time management, well-being, self-care, and also lifelong skill development. I think we can all agree that if we go into a career or we go into college, these 4 things are critical for our success. And it looks different based on which environment you walk into. In a college, I'm not worried about my W-2, right? I'm not worried about my W-4, but I'm worried about my FAFSA and my scholarships and my aid, right? And so we take that student's journey, their path, and contextualize these pillars based on where they're going. And we help them understand how to look at that paycheck and why 33% of it came out before you got it into your bank, right? And how to go to your bank and open up that checking account, because Cash App, businesses don't pay you through Cash App, right? You have to have a bank account. And some of our young people don't even have that established. So here's our footprint as of today. We are in 5 of Kentucky's 120 counties. I'm in 22 of the high schools in those counties, which means in Jefferson County, I'm not in every high school. I'm in about half of those high schools. But we are working very closely with each of the principals, guidance counselors, family youth resource support coordinators, or our Friskies, as I call them, to support the young people that we're working with. And so our impact this year, for every one Everybody Counts coach, we can impact approximately 200 students in a school year. Let's let that sit for a second. That means there are 200 individuals that are getting personalized attention to help direct them on the right path for where they want to go when they graduate. And this is in coordination with guidance counselors. This is coordination with schools officials, right? This is not something that we're doing on our own in our own little vacuum. This is 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, coaches in the school. They've been given presence in the school. They have an office or some type of setting where they can meet with students and have one-on-one or group conversations to drive this type of impact forward. So these are career fairs, these are college fairs, these are going with the students to businesses to visit, these are going to college visits. We were at Northern Kentucky not long ago doing a visit here. We want to make sure the students have had exposure to all of the things that are available to them. And so last year we had 13 coaches. We connected with 2,500 seniors. This year we have double the amount of coaches, almost double the amount of high schools. And so we anticipate to double the amount of impact. And that's probably a small number compared to where we already are this year. I think we've already hit 4,500 students. We're already halfway through the year. So this is pretty amazing to look at. We use technology to drive a lot of what we do with our students. As you can imagine, students love technology. They're not as digitally literate as we might think they are, but they definitely love engaging with our coaches through technology. So we use the district ILP platform. So for Jefferson County and Fayette County, they use Pathful. Here in Northern Kentucky, we use UScience. I'm very familiar with UScience and its brain games. They were on the list of me purchasing that technology too, but our school districts are using Pathful right now. We will purchase whatever technology we need to better engage those students. But we can use this technology here to log in and look at careers in Kentucky, education in Kentucky, the trajectory of those jobs within that particular industry. And we can highlight particular professionals in those industries and show those videos, show those workplaces. So if I can't take a 17-year-old to a manufacturing facility, I can at least virtually give them a picture of what it looks like, right? And break down some of those stereotypes of what advanced manufacturing looks like or manufacturing as an industry might look like for a young person. Transfer is also a technology we use. Virtual reality is a thing, and we are trying to introduce this with high school students, putting the headsets on, MetaQuest 3 headsets, getting them inside a transfer, a career exploration software. I climbed an electrical tower. I was about 100 feet up in the air. Helicopters were running around my head, and I'm trying to attach this line onto this tower, and I'm like literally looking down, and I'm not on the ground, right? My feet are on the ground, but the VR says I'm up in the air. Knee surgery with blood splattering everywhere. If you don't like blood, I don't want you finding out 2 years into your nursing program in college, right? And I have a coach who that is her personal testimony. Right? That's a waste. I would rather you tell me what you don't want for dinner than what you do, because it helps me narrow down the list, right? Tell me what you don't like, and then we can start narrowing down these career choices. And so transfer allows us to do this. I have a video I will share after this that you can check this out. I just be sensitive on time. You can see just a little 2-3 minute video of what that experience might look like in a headset for a young person. And then we bring Ready for Industry, which is a statewide national recognized certification, 15 to 20 hours within these 5 industries that you see on the screen, major industries here in Kentucky. But we can certify a student they will have industry knowledge going into that job before they graduate high school. Certified. It's a NOCTI certification. It's a nationally recognized occupational training certification. So we can put a student in a course, and so they can learn about construction, some of the lingo in construction. What's the construction jobs look like? What does this landscape look like? It puts them already at the top of the list on the hiring block, because they'll have the certification on their resume versus someone who doesn't. And this is something we can marry with our CTE programs, our track programs, our tech-ready apprenticeships for careers in Kentucky. This marries very well with students who might be doing that program or doing something off the side like welding, but still wants to learn maybe more about construction, right? This is something I'm very excited about. Our pre-ed services. Pre-employment transition services was something that we were actually doing last year, and we recognized this year that we're missing the mark on how we can specialize our training for our coaches. Pre-ed services are available through our Office of Vocational Rehabilitation here at the state of Kentucky, and they are for students with special needs, students that have an IEP, an individual education plan, or a 504 plan, some type of an accommodation in the high school that helps them navigate the curriculum. We were already working with these students last year But what we recognized is the coaches were not trained to work with an LD, low disability, or maybe multi-functioning disabilities or high levels of disabilities. And so we worked with OBR to specialize our training. And now we can go into schools and work directly with special education departments and individuals with special needs to help them career explore, college explore, and do the mainstay activities that we're doing already, but make it specialized for those particular students and work more closely with those particular students in the high schools. 200, we scale that down to 20, right? These are special needs, depending on the coach and their ability to carry a caseload. They're not looking at 200 students, they're gonna look at 20 when we're talking about our pre-employment transition services. So this is something we can also bring and work on within the high school setting. Very specialized career coaching. Work with the businesses in the local area and how you employ individuals with disabilities and how they transition out of the high school environment, sometimes with alternate diploma into the workforce. Because at the end of the day, that's our biggest goal, is to transition high school students, whether college is required or not. The career is the outcome. Employment is the outcome. And so we want to see them back in the workforce. So these are the benefits for the student. Personalized career coaching, with exposure to our Kentucky industries, our Kentucky businesses, direct connection to those businesses, and then work-based learning opportunities so that you can maybe get in early with that business so that you have a job waiting for you when you graduate. The thing that I also love about this, and this is the academic advisor in me from my higher education days, is we follow the student for a year after they graduate. So you can tell me you're going to go to college in May, but college doesn't start until September, right? And a lot of summertime happens in between, and a lot of bad decisions can be made in the summer. I know I made a few of those myself, but it didn't change my trajectory, but sometimes it does. And plan A turns to plan B to plan Q. And so we want to make sure not only have you designed a plan, but you've fulfilled that plan by the time you're in that fall season and you're enrolled in classes and you persisted to the spring and you're making positive momentum towards finishing that degree. But if you're not, then we're working with our friends, right? Our KCC friends, our navigators that we have here in the community that can reconnect those out of school youth, right? Into those careers or into those job placements so that they're active, participating citizens. This is a quote from one of our seniors, and I'll just leave that up here for a minute. I have hundreds of these stories that I could tell, but I think this really does speak to why it's important for our coaches to be in the schools. Now, as I've been talking, how many of you have reflected back to your high school career and go, man, I wish I would have had one? Anybody? Just to show a hand. How many had one of these when you were in high school?
No.
Okay. Do you think it's critical now that students have some type of plans?
Yeah.
If you're not feeling my energy and my passion for what I do, I'm sorry. I don't drink coffee, so you're getting this uncaffeinated. This is what I do. Right? I have a folder in heaven right now that kind of gives me an unlimited ability to pour this stuff out, so it's just overflowing. But this is also a big piece of this. We have to work. I have to work directly with businesses to engage them to know where those opportunities are. I have to work with the area development districts, the local workforce boards, the Rotaries, to find out where are these jobs, where are the scholarships, where are the opportunities for these young people to get the experience what we know that they need, right? But everyone in this room has an opportunity to open up the door for that young person. So I just encourage you to think about what would your role look like if you personally invested in that one young person who lives next to you, across the street from you, or you know is at the high school, is about to graduate. How can you help them take that next step? Because I'm not here. Everybody Counts is not in Boone County. It's not in Northern Kentucky yet. Not like that word, right? Yet.
Yes.
But that's where I need your help. I'm helping to spread the word, and I appreciate Julie bringing me here today to help me spread this word, because this is good work. And this does not matter what side of the aisle you live on or you vote on. That is my personal opinion. But this is work for young people. And that work does not matter what policy or politics you follow, right? Young people are important regardless. And so we want to make sure that they're supported. And again, after graduation, life kicks in. And it's not fun. This world is not designed to build you up, right? It's designed to break you down. And so We also focus on district benefits. Why would the school want to partner with Everybody Counts? Well, guidance counselors have plenty of free time and they have plenty of students to work with and they don't have any stress of,
No.
right? They're overwhelmed.
We're short.
They have lots to do and job occupational placement is not on their radar. There's data from our Council for Post-Secondary Education
Yeah.
to show you where they invest their time and it's not on occupational placement. And that's not because they don't want to. It's because that's not where they need to focus. So here's where we help the districts. We help them with all of these points. Career fairs, bringing businesses in, working with their families, helping with all of those components on that next step. And hopefully alleviating some of that strain that they have on, their staff. This is one of our high school principals, Elizabeth Gabert. I just talked to the other Scott County High School, Great Crossing High School, and Joy Lesby, similar quote, but she said that we were a gift to her high school, which I think I need to get that in some kind of a video for the governor. But nonetheless, when you hear a principal say this, you know you're doing it right. When you hear your young people give you the feedback they're giving us, we know we're doing it right. So it's just a matter of how do we make this thing more scalable? How do we bring this to more students in Kentucky? There are 120 counties, 172 school districts in this state. And I'm only in 5 and 22. So I've got a lot of work to do. But I would ask, what questions do you have? Yes, sir.
How do you identify as willing to in class and up here there are at least 500 students?
Some do. Some of our schools have 50 and we can touch every single one. But if we have a school where we have 500 seniors, which that's Jefferson County, right? 30th largest school district in the nation. We don't get to touch every single student or engage every single student. So we say to the schools, tell us who is on your list that doesn't meet your CCR metrics, your college and career readiness metrics, right? State has these metrics. If they don't meet those check boxes, please send them to our coaches, right? Do you have someone that's on your, every teacher has that, oh, this young person needs a little extra support, might need a little extra hand holding, send them our way. That's where we start. And then we let the word of the mouth of the students take over. Hey, you got to go talk to Coach Chris. That man's energy is overwhelming. You will come out of there, you'll have more things ready to do, and he'll make sure that you get the next step, right? And that's how we focus on that. So that by the end of the year, we've touched as many students, that 200 number, as possible. Sir.
With marijuana becoming more prevalent, it seems like ambition is becoming lower. And it seems like your job is going to become more and more important with time.
I hope so. It'll keep me in a job. Yes. I think there's a lot that we can learn about Generation Z, this up and coming generation right now. I'm doing a lot of research just to better understand our young people. But one of the things that we find is they're much more in tune with themselves, and I think we give them credit.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're asking questions that are challenging for us in the older generations. And honestly, my generation challenged y'all with. So it's the youth that actually make the change happen.
Yeah.
And if you look at the research, employment and workforce has changed because of the way the youth has responded to work. But we're not in the workplace where we have to work to survive anymore. If you think about that, my grandfather is 97 right now, and his work life was you had to work just to keep surviving.
Mm-hmm.
We're not in that phase right now. These young people aren't working to survive anymore. They're working for quality of life and some of the things that they want to see happen. And they're not so worried about retirement right now. They're worried about where they can do with their life right now, which I'm a little jealous of, right? I wish I'd done more in my early phase. But I think that's one thing that we strive to do in our role is listen more than we talk.
Mm-hmm.
And really hear what that young person is saying. What is in your way? How can we help move that out of your way? Because sometimes the things in their way are speed bumps that we would think, right? Things we just kind of cruise right over. But some of these young people, that speed bump is an all-out stop.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to take that next step. And so if you are in a position to influence a young person, please take that opportunity when you have it. If there are questions that young person has, you can send them our way. We may not have a coach I can put in the high school, but we will definitely interact with them via email, Zoom, Teams, and any way we can support them, or we'll connect them to the resources here locally that exist, and even better, make sure that they have that network established. Other questions? How am I doing on time?
Oh,
You're doing good.
You can do it. Is there a cost to the districts?
Negative.
I don't know why a district would.
Well,
But
and then let me say this for just because funding is always a fun thing to talk about. Money, it's always about money, right? We were funded through the General Assembly last biennium. I came into the initiative in the latter half of that biennium and we lost our funding going into this biennium. So we are working with OBR on our pre-ed services and I have funding through the statewide reserve. But as you know, the next biennium will be coming up. And so I'm able to be funded through this biennium, but the second half of the governor's tenure and that second biennium, I do not have guaranteed funding to have everybody counts continue to move forward. So what I am doing right now is this. And very soon, I hope to announce that we will have a fundraising mechanism, whether that's a foundation or some type of organization that can help us generate funds for everybody counts. But your voices are just as important. You have an opportunity to speak to your school district. You have an opportunity to speak to your legislators and let them know that this sounds like something that we should be doing as a state. My goal is to take this thing statewide. If there's anything that I feel tasked to do is to make sure that something like Everybody Counts exists in every high school. You don't have to call it Everybody Counts, but you should be career coaching your students. And we have a model that we know works. And so I'll share the model. And we're going to need to customize it because Northern Kentucky looks a little different than Western Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky and even Central Kentucky. Yeah. So what I say works in Jefferson County may not work in Boone County, but it's customizable, right? And we want to make sure that students, again, get the personalized experience. So I will be asking for that support once we have that model built out. And, but if you have an opportunity in a board meeting, state board meeting, school board meeting, wherever you sit and have influence, if you will share the message about Everybody Counts, I would appreciate that. Because I firmly believe in its mission.
Great. Cool. Thank you, Chris.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
That is bad. Yeah. I need to draw.
Pardon me.
So Chris still had all that energy after he helped me rearrange the room here. So we put him to work even though he was our guest today. So. Actually, Jim, let's do the drawing. Chris, we're gonna have you draw a name out of looks like a basket here.
Love to.
So we've got a raffle today for a Smoky Bones gift card.
Wow.
Ticket number 113.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I definitely. Thank you.
That's it. Yeah.
You want to mention as people bring boxes they get for?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't change that one.
Yes, yeah.
Because the more we can get, the better it is. And
Yeah.
what the Ed's gonna do with these is they have a lot of homebound clients they provide services to. These will go out for January River. So as many as we can get, the Ed can do. In fact, we could do this all year round.
That's true.
Yeah. It's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
My original plan was gonna be to wrap gifts, but the ad district already has a wrapping party scheduled for that, so I couldn't talk them into moving into our meeting, but we would like to do something of service, so on kind of the spur of the moment, this was a good idea. So anyway, next week will be our final meeting of the year. So it'll be just a holiday club assembly. We got a good menu for food coming, so
It's an Ian request.
yeah.
I heard.
So anyway, have a good week.